Well, let's define the word progress. To me, it merely means making complicated what is already simple. And I think we tend to be too full of ourselves as far as what intelligence is. And we tend to, because we don't have the happiness that those indigenous peoples have. But we tend to view our happiness as what we own and how much in possession we have in our garage or whatnot, in our bank account. So we tend to make all our judgments through the bank, our decisions through the bank, rather than what those indigenous peoples are making their decisions through is Mother Earth. And treating Mother like she's a live being, and yet we know, as all of us living now, we feel indigenous, but we have forgotten how. And so those indigenous peoples have not. And as Americans, and I see this, and I can spread this around and say it's a general statement too, but Americans don't want to admit they're wrong, because that means they're lower than. Americans also don't want to admit that they are unhappy, because it's the pride within, coming from maybe a peoples in Europe before that had all that taken away from them. So they came here to own property, to have this, not saying that you're outstanding. And then the religions dictate that the more you own, the more nicer things you have, then you must be a better person. And besides, God's going to look at you and give you these things. What thinking native person would want to go to some place that has pearly gates and streets paved with gold? Not one native person who knows themselves would ever want to go there. As a Lakota, we have no need for a heaven. We have no need for a hell. It's right here. We're not worried about not going to heaven. We're not worried about going to hell. We are right here. We are conscious. There is no there's no past. There is no future. It's all right here, right now. We are both of those right now. So that we evolved into this state of consciousness that says, I am you, you are me. My body is in the soul, you are my soul. I must respect you. Instead of my soul is only in my body separate, so I must gather in order to feel like I own or I am somebody. Because ours is that maybe we don't need, maybe we just, we turn into a tree. Maybe we turn into one of them. Maybe we turn into something. But energy is exchanged. We just don't die. Our spirit, our energy just goes back to earth, and that's a good thing too. But it's also that you live in Lakota philosophy. We were alive before we came here. We're alive now, and we'll be alive, even though physically we may change. Because all of our reality in this way of thinking, in rational thinking, is contained within our physicality. We only understand our five senses and try to interpret what spirit is through religion and politics and rational thinking. So we're coming from a lack of mentality already. So we complain about everything. We complain about somebody who may know the answer as compared to somebody who is living the answer. We don't have words like believe, which is so easily used in this society. Because believe to us, if you think about it, it's a spiritual lazy word, because that book says somebody else's experience is not your experience. That's believable? No, you have to know. Your experience says that you know this, and that's what you become wise. Because in Lakota, we had this saying, in order to protect ourselves, and it goes like this, that be careful of the education that they bring to you and force upon you, because that education may educate the wisdom out of your soul.